I'll give y'all another more advice on women, right? Women will give you some like sad ass trauma stories and shit to basically get you out of the mood of sex. This is something I've noticed. Women will try, and women are the opposite of dudes. Women think in reverse, right? They will do anything to try to turn you off. It's really weird because it's like in their brain, it's like they're trying to turn you off and they're trying to test your willpower. That's all it is. They're trying to test, okay, will this guy still get freaky with me if I tell him this, and this? Like they really genuinely be testing you all the time on shit like that, which is so draining. They really should just stop doing it. I mean, they never going to stop doing it, but they really shouldn't. I mean, they really should. And I will say this too though. Every once in a while, you will find a woman who doesn't do none of these games and stuff, and actually just likes you for you. They are out there. I have dated a few. I have seen them. I've seen some dudes that are married to a good woman right now. So there are good women out there, absolutely, 100%. But they're so damn rare, you know. But usually they come to you because you might get lucky. Like most of the time, what happens is a lot of dudes end up getting lucky, and they just slip into getting some Gucci. Like they slip into getting a good woman. Some dudes just get lucky like that. You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with looks or nothing. It's just something that you did made this woman decide that she wanted to date you. Something you did. It could have been you were a good liar. Because like I said, women are attracted to different shit. Men are usually attracted to looks, and then, you know, personality is next, and then how we vibe is next after that, pretty much. And looks, when I say looks, that doesn't mean a 10 out of 10 baddie. She could be like a 6 out of 10. But it's like if her personality is good and she is 6 out of 10, it kind of boosts her up. You know, and most dudes want to at least find something about her attractive. So like if she got a pretty cute face, a cute voice, big boobs, a big butt, nice legs, whatever. It's like dudes like a lot of different combinations. Like even though we're into looks, it's like looks could be like she's a 5 or a 6 in looks. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't always mean she's a 10 out of 10 baddie, perfect in every way. Like sometimes a nigga will just like her because she thick, 300 pounds, big butt, big titties, you know, cute face. Her voice is sexy. She cook good. You know what I'm saying? Like dudes, it is what it is. So looks thing doesn't always mean we're like shallow and it's just she has to be a 10 out of 10. Like most dudes ain't dating no 10 out of 10. But every dude has the power to be able to do that. But just to stay more on topic, a lot of women will do anything and everything for you guys to not sleep together, even though a lot of them want to sleep with you. It's really strange. But I've ran into a lot of that shit. I think one of the biggest things that I ran into was there was this chick, we were like making out, and then out of nowhere she just stopped and she was like, and my ex-boyfriend just did me so bad, and she started doing all this crying and shit. And it's like I was young too when this happened. So it was like I kind of still was in that mindset of believing that like the better you treat a woman, the more she wants to keep dating you and shit like that. But then I started realizing how much they like selfish dudes later on down the line. But that was like I was still in that, in that spot of being a really good human being to women because I thought that's what they liked, but they don't. They never respond good to that shit. So like back then, it's like I listened to what she had to say, all this, nice, kind shit, you know. But I also realized over time that I really didn't like her that much. It was more like a convenience. It was more like, okay, she lived down the street. I could just walk to her house, go to her house all the time. I realized I'm like, I really don't even really like this chick or really want to do anything freaky with this chick. I don't want to give too much of my business. But I realized I didn't really like her that much because her personality wasn't really nothing. And then it was funny because like after we stopped talking, basically it was like, and this is why I tell dudes, women be having a roster like a motherfucker. They be having the biggest rosters, bro. Just out of nowhere. Literally like a day or two later, I seen her walking around with this dude. I was like, damn, that fast? I was like, that was quick. And it wasn't even like she was my girlfriend or nothing. We were just kind of fooling around. It was more like we were just chilling, kind of. Just like friends with benefits kind of thing, I guess. But yeah. And that's another thing. The next video is gonna be how to create a roster for dudes, so I can help y'all, and what that consists of. But women's rosters is easy. Like we could talk about women's rosters for this video. Women's rosters, when they pick a roster, usually they find out that they can create one when they're like literally like 12 or 13 years old, and they realize they're kind of good looking. This is usually when they realize, like, that's the age where they're like, oh, I can get dudes to pretty much do what I want, you know. And over time, they realize, like, okay, I can have a food guy, I can have a guy I make out with, I can have a gay homie, I can have a guy I call my friend, but we never do anything, you know. And then a lot of the time, they'll have like an older boyfriend when they're like 13, 14. Their older boyfriend is like 16, or a guy they mess with is like 16. They'll even experiment with girls. Like, that's something I remember back when I was in middle school and high school, as girls used to have a whole roster, and they would just basically do whatever they want. Experiment with other girls, experiment with older dudes. Some of them would even date younger dudes. I saw that. Like, I remember back when I was like 13, there was like this dude. He kind of looked like he had the Justin Bieber haircut, and he had like freckles, and he was like, I think he was like 12, and he was a seventh grader, and he was dating an eighth grader, and she was like 3 inches taller than him, but they were like in deep love. Like, you used to see them literally hugged up deep. I'm talking about deep. As soon as you walk in the building, they just hugged up, hugged up. I used to see that shit all the time, bro. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, this, like, women find that shit out when they're young, when they're literally teenagers. They're 12, 13. They realize that they can do that. They realize that they can basically network with dudes. You know, they can get a dude to, you know, just give him a hug today and he'll give me his lunch. Just give him a hug, he'll give me $5, he'll let me have it, you know, stuff like that. They realize that at a young age. Dudes don't understand really anything. Like, dudes usually are going, well, I guess technically women are going off of, girls are going off of instinct as well. The dudes usually go off of instinct when they're like super young, like, you know, 12, 13. They got all that testosterone going on. And you know what's crazy? That actually helps them get girls when they're young. And what messes it up is when they get older and they realize there's like consequences to like all their actions and stuff. That's when dudes start realizing, like, okay, I gotta start being more calm and doing stuff like that. And that actually messes you up from getting women, is when you realize, like, okay, I gotta be responsible, I gotta be mature, I gotta do this, gotta do that. When you have like mental freedom, you're not even thinking about all that stuff. And when you're a teenager, you have that mental freedom. You know, you're a lot more free when you're a teenager versus an adult. Like, as an adult, you have to have a job to keep your, you know, your apartment, stuff like that. You have to have a job to pay the bills, stuff like that. You're not able to just kind of run around all day on the weekends and kind of do whatever, you know. Because the thing is, when you're a teenager, it's like you literally can just get out of school and basically run around. If your mom's like at work, you can just do whatever you want until she get home. Then you can start doing your homework and stuff. Technically, you have massive freedom when you're young, you know. But yeah, I think I'm going to title this when girls are young and realize they can have a roster. But like, comment, subscribe, follow your boy.